You've got the joy of being a former member, of which means you can take a much better overview of what is going on in government at the moment. And with this cost of living crisis, should Rishi Sunak, who is obviously trying to step himself up to be the next leader, the next Prime Minister...
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, maybe not.
That's not going to happen.
He's got ambitions, though, we know that. Is he doing the right thing? I mean, a lot of people saying he could have done a lot more, he could have looked at universal credit.
Yes, if I was a Tory MP today, I would be very angry that he's talking about a tax reduction bribe in 2 years' time, jam tomorrow, when he should be dealing. I think there is a serious case.
Does that look really simple?
Yes, there's a serious case for increasing universal credit. I mean, this is what happens when you have a generation of politicians who don't know what inflation is. I came into politics because of inflation. I came into politics because prices doubled between 1975 and 1979. I can still see my election address. Under this Labour government, inflation has been allowed to roar and prices have doubled. And it took Margaret Thatcher all of her 11 years to stamp on and sit on inflation. And unfortunately, the collective memory of today's politicians, because there are so few who are as ancient as me still living and active in politics, they don't remember how corrosive inflation can be.
Is it fair?
And the worst, this is a Tory government.
Sorry, is it fair to also point out the fact that we have a generation of senior ministers who don't know what it's like to be poor?
I think that's a fair point. I think that's very fair. I mean, when I got into politics, I didn't expect to win my seat in 1979. I didn't have a penny to my name. I did know the price of bread. I didn't know the price of milk. And I felt it as much. I was actually paid, Anne, in 1979, not much more than the steel workers that I represented. I remember during the steel strike of 1980, 3-month steel strike in my Scunthorpe constituency, as it was then during those boundaries, I remember going to a public meeting of steel workers, and I had my pay slip in my pocket because I knew they were going to throw UMPs, you're paid a fortune. And I said to the shop steward, would you like to pass this pay slip of mine around? And it wasn't much different from a steel worker's salary. They were well paid, steel workers, deservedly. I mean, you know, they're skilled workers, you know, do a very dangerous job, a very skilled job. They deserve every penny, by the way, even today. But I agree with you that it is important, and Rishi Sunak has a problem here.
He does.
To understand that with the cost of living crisis,
we're not all in it together, are we?
The optics don't look good. I certainly agree. Now, you know, he can't help the background that he comes from. He probably thinks he's doing a good job as Chancellor. I'm sure he works very hard. But the blunt truth is, I would have put the priority on universal credit and benefits.